So today we're finally gonna make the G80 M3 sound louder. Now I will tell you guys, this is gonna be more of like a budget-friendly exhaust setup. There's actually gonna be 2 mods that we're gonna be installing on the G80 to make it sound louder. But before we do that, let's get a quick cold start while the car is still completely stopped. So the car definitely doesn't sound bad right now, but I think we're gonna make it sound a lot better today. But with that said, I'm gonna pull the car in to the courtyard. We're gonna get it lifted a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. So before I show you guys the 2 mods, let me just say a huge shout out and thank you to Keys Motorsports, as well as Daler for sending this out to me. If you guys want these mods, there will be some links down in the description below. Go check them out. But with that said, I have to even show you guys what they are. And here they are, guys. Let's start off with this little box first. So if you guys don't recognize this, this is an exhaust valve controller. Again, made by Daler. So this thing is super cool. It's a plug and play system that you literally plug into your exhaust valves, which I'll show you guys in more detail later on. But this basically allows you to open up your exhaust all the way, because if you guys didn't know, for some reason BMW made it that your exhaust valves don't even open up when you press on valves open. It kind of fluctuates, but it still doesn't even open up all the way. But with this valve controller, we can open up the exhaust at all times, even when the car is in comfort mode. So this thing should be pretty quick and easy to install. It's literally just going to plug into your valves, and then we have to like store this somewhere underneath there. That's going to be the only tricky part in my opinion. We'll figure it out though. It is cool that they give you some stuff to do that. They give you some zip ties and some 3M tape so we can stick it on underneath the car somewhere. But with that said, let me just show you guys the second mod, and that is an H pipe. Yes, so these 2 mods, guys, together kind of make up a budget-friendly exhaust setup. Now, I will say, you don't have to get these 2 together. You can just get the valve controller if you really want to, or you can get the valve controller with a full exhaust, so valved exhaust that is, because if you don't have a valve, it's kind of useless. Or you can just get the H pipe. So you can get them both together, which I would recommend, because I think both of them will give you a nice setup. But you can just do one or the other. So with that said, guys, we're gonna get to installing these things. Now, if you want to hear some before and after clips of the sound, wait till the end of the video. All right, guys, so crawling underneath the car, you can see you have one of your valve controllers right here. So to unplug this, there's a clip right in here. Want to press it down and then just wiggle it out like that. You have another one over here on this side. So same thing, you want to press on the clip, wiggle it out. So now we have to connect the Daler valve controller, and that's basically just going to act like almost like a middleman between the male and the female connection. The hardest part, again, I think is going to be routing it through all this stuff. I think we're gonna leverage the heat shield like Keys Motorsports did in their video. So we'll give that a shot. Alright guys, so change of plans. I got everything plugged in. I was gonna mount it on the outside, but I'm gonna see if I can remove the wheel, remove the fender liner a little bit and get it inside. Just out of paranoia, the more I thought about it, I'm like, I don't want this thing to fall off and just get destroyed. So we're gonna be better safe than sorry in this case. So I jacked up the car, which was a pain because this was really tight. Did not expect all this, but I got the wheel off. Now I'm thinking, guys, we can probably take off a few bolts, pull back this fender liner, and then mount it behind there. Yeah, that should be enough. We can get back there. And honestly, guys, it looks pretty good. So I think this is gonna be a great place to mount it. So as you guys can see, I got it mounted in there. Hopefully you can see it. By the way, it wasn't actually just 3M tape, it was Velcro, so it's really nice that they give you that, so that way you can just take it off and put it back on how you please. I'm honestly really glad I went ahead and mounted it in here, because even if, God forbid, this thing does fail and it falls, it's gonna fall in here. It's not gonna start dragging on the floor. It's not gonna get destroyed. It's probably gonna rattle around, but I mean, I'd rather have that than it fall on the floor and get destroyed at like highway speeds or something like that. So now we can move on to the fun part, which is hearing what this thing sounds like. guys heard it for yourselves, but just in case the camera isn't picking it up well, let me just tell you my impression. So obviously when the car is just stock, no valves open or anything, it sounds pretty quiet. It actually doesn't sound bad. It sounds pretty good, but it's just pretty quiet. When you open up the valves inside the car, so when you actually press on M1 or M2 and you press on the valve button, it definitely sounds way better. And then when you use the valve controller, it does make it a little louder, but I'll be honest with you guys, it's nothing too crazy. I'm sure if you had an aftermarket exhaust, it would even emphasize the difference. But right now on the stock exhaust, it will make it sound better, but it's not gonna be like a world of difference. So yeah, objectively guys, it definitely makes your car sound louder. But again, just in my personal opinion, it's not gonna make it sound too crazy. It's not gonna replace an entire exhaust system. I think that's the best way to put it. It's a great add-on to an exhaust system, but it's not gonna replace one. But I do still think that exhaust flap, as well as this over here, is gonna make the car sound way better. And again, it's gonna be more budget friendly because an exhaust system does get very expensive for these cars, but these two together are like half the price. All right, it is day 2 of installing the budget exhaust setup on the G80 M3. Unfortunately, the last day, I had to go run and do something, so I have to continue it today, which kind of sucks because it is colder and it was raining. But that's all right, we're gonna get this done. So we're just gonna jump right into installing this H-pipe. Now to install this, guys, our first step is to remove that brace right in there, which is blocking our access. Now it's just being held on with a bunch of 13s, I believe. So I'm gonna try to get that off. I'm gonna try to take the H-pipe and line it up, and then basically line up where I need to cut. Now, if you guys are wondering what you should use to cut your exhaust, there's this pretty simple and easy tool you can get off Amazon. That is this right over here. This thing is pretty easy to use. I've used it in the past on my F30. You basically wrap this around your exhaust, you squeeze it, and you basically go back and forth, and it'll give you a nice clean cut on your exhaust. So I got the brace out of there. Again, it was just 6 13 mil bolts. But now in terms of the H-pipe, of course, like I said, we're gonna have to make 4 cuts, and then we're gonna secure it to the OEM exhaust with these clamps right over here, which are gonna slide something like that. But like I said, I'm gonna go underneath right now. I'm gonna line everything up. I'm gonna take a Sharpie and try to like mark it. I'll measure everything to double check it against what Key said in their video. But I don't know. Wish me luck, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm super nervous about this part because I really don't want to mess this up. All right, guys, so quick update. I made 2 cuts on the back end over there. We still have to make the cuts over there. When I tried to put the tool in, I didn't have enough space. I should have known. Keys actually mentioned you need to drop the exhaust a little bit just to give you enough clearance so you can cut it. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. There's 2 exhaust hangers in the back over here, and then there's one somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna quickly do that. All right, so now that I dropped the exhaust just a bit, I should have enough clearance that I can fit the tool in here, and I won't also cut up the heat shield at the same time, because it did fit, really. It was hitting the heat shield. Yeah, I have enough space. And this is why you gotta listen to Keys. Thanks, Brian, appreciate you. All right, guys, so it's been a little while. I've been cutting for a good amount of time. Unfortunately, that cutter tool is definitely not good for 4 cuts. But thankfully though, as of 15 minutes ago, Amazon came by and they brought me my second cutter. So I was able to use that and finish the cuts. So with that in mind, we finally got it down. Not sure how well you guys can see that, but it's now on the ground. That means it is off the car and we can start installing the new one. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I am beat. If you're gonna do this yourself, honestly, it's really tough on the ground because you don't have too much like leverage or space to really move the tool. Just use like an actual saw, take the exhaust off the car, go to a shop, I don't know, don't do what I'm doing, that's the point. This is definitely not the most professional way of doing these things, but hey, it's what we do to get it done. And we're halfway there. I think taking off the old one is gonna be the harder part. I think putting on the new one should be way easier, but who knows? I don't wanna jinx myself at this point. It looks like it's about to rain, so we're gonna try to knock this out. So before we even get into that, let me just show you a quick side-by-side of these 2 mid pipes. So of course, this one has the resonator, this one does not, so that should give us the extra sound. Also, I'm not sure if this will give us any sound. I don't know, I'm sure there's some engineering behind this that I don't fully understand. So of course, as I predicted, I got rained out. This is another day. This video is now over the course of 3 days, which is pretty crazy. I finished the installation, but you guys didn't get to hear the actual revs. So with that in mind, guys, We're finally going to hear what this thing sounds like again, now with the valve controller as well as the Daler mid pipe. So removing one of the resonators. Let's get a bit of a kind of cold start. Let's give it a second. Not bad. Definitely an improvement. But let me give it some revs so you guys can hear what it really sounds like, and then after we'll go for a little drive because I think this thing is going to sound even better under load. Hear that? That was some pretty crazy pops. Now for reference guys, this car isn't tuned, so that was pretty cool. Anyways, let's take this thing out for a drive because I think it's gonna sound sick, especially with the air intake, which you definitely only hear under load. Alright guys, so Daler mid pipe, valve controller, and MST intake. That's all this car has. And I gotta say, it sounds way better than stock. Is it crazy loud? No. Just from driving this thing, it definitely sounds better. It sounds louder, but it's not too crazy. Personally, I think if you guys just wanna like have a reasonable setup, and by reasonable I mean cost wise as well as sound wise, because you still maintain your factory muffler, you maintain your valve system, but this does give you that extra sound without being too crazy. I think this car should have came stock like this. I'm sure there's reasons why BMW has put all these resonators on it, but I think if the car came like this from factory, it would have sounded, I think, like perfect for most people who buy this car. And then obviously at that point, if you want to get a full exhaust system, you can do that as well. All right, let's roll down the window a little bit. You definitely hear the intake a lot, which is... Yeah, not bad. I stand behind what I said though. This is a great setup for someone who's not like looking for a crazy sound. If you guys just want something super loud, it's probably not for you. It is really affordable in my opinion compared to other exhaust systems, but still, if you want something loud, again, just not the route you should go. But if you want something that's daily driver friendly and you just want to be able to like enjoy the sound of the car, but also not be overwhelmed by it, if that makes sense, I think this is perfect. For me guys, am I gonna leave it here? No, I think I need something a little louder, a little more dramatic, especially for YouTube and creating content. So I'm gonna go for another exhaust setup in the future. What am I gonna do? I don't know. If you guys have recommendations, let me know down in the comments below. But again, if you want something that sounds good, but is also reasonable for day-to-day driving, I think this is a great setup. So again, huge shout out and thank you to Keys Motorsports and Daler for sending this out to me. And yeah, with that said, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I don't mind if you don't listen that much, but some of y'all don't listen at all. The same they be pushing